There is so much uncertainty right now. What can we do with this uncertainty? How are we supposed to cope when we cannot predict the future? With anxiety, when we're feeling anxious, we love being able to know what's coming next. We love having a sense of control. And right now, with everything happening in the world, it can feel very difficult to be able to make plans for your future. This is something that I've been feeling as well. I'm a human too, but I know that you guys have also been struggling with. And I actually had someone reach out to me and request that I address this in particular. So I'm going to bring you some ideas about how you can get your mind around this uncertainty that we're facing. The first thing I will get you to question and challenge your mind with is the concept of, were we ever really in a state of complete certainty in life? So we have this idea that the world has suddenly become more uncertain than ever, but in fact, the world has always been uncertain. There's never been a time where we could 100% know what was going to happen next in our lives. We just thought we would know. We just thought we could predict it. But that certainty, so the level of certainty in our world actually hasn't changed at all. There's always a level of uncertainty. You can never 100% predict what's going to happen in life. It just feels that way now, but what's happened in 2020 was always going to happen. So just remember that. And the sooner we can actually find an acceptance around that, the more we can feel a sense of peacefulness around it. The next thing I want to ask you guys is, what can you feel certain about? So when you're in a state of, I can't grab a hold of anything, this isn't true. So just because you can't have control of your external circumstances, you don't know when you're next going to be, you don't know where you're going to be in 6 months' time. We don't know what the restrictions are going to be. We don't know what our opportunities are going to be. If you're in the employment funnel at the moment and not sure when you're going to be able to find work, we don't know. We don't know. And I can't give you that certainty, unfortunately, on that. However, you have a level of certainty within you and what you are going to choose to do and how you're going to choose to show up in the world and the thoughts that you're going to choose to think about yourself. So that is where you find certainty when there is no certainty in your external world. How can you find the certainty that you know you are going to respond a certain way, that you are this kind of person? You know you are resilient. You know that you will get through, that you are a fighter, that you are someone who will not be locked, but be thrown down by life and stay down. This is something that I tell myself. I know that these qualities are true for myself, and I know that because I've chosen those qualities. I didn't wait for someone to tell me that I'm a resilient person. I didn't wait for someone to tell me that I'm going to make it through challenges and that naturally I will find my way and I'll be okay. I've chosen that as my identity. This is who I am. I'm that person, and you can choose that too, and you can find that certainty for yourself as well in that. The next thing to do is think of something that you take as a certainty already and just notice how you don't even question it. So for example, we all feel pretty certain that the sun's going to rise tomorrow, that we're going to have another day tomorrow. We feel pretty certain that the sun is still going to be rising in 6 months' time. And that's something that we don't really question. And I just want you to start to grasp the fact that there are some things that you still believe in as certain, even though they're not certain. Who knows, right? I'm not trying to freak you out here. I'm just making the point that certainty is actually an illusion. It doesn't exist. It's something that we make up in our heads. So we're also making up that level of uncertainty too. And just remember, you've got a lot more power than you realize to choose what you are going to lean into as certainty for yourself. So if you want to have hope that things in the world are going to be back to some level of normalcy, some level of predictability in 6 months' time, then go for it. Why not lean into that illusion and that certainty? Because it makes you feel better now. It means you're going to show up more productively in your life now, more effectively, being a calmer, more grounded person. If you sit here believing every day for the next 12 months that we're never going to go back to any kind of normal life and everything's always going to be chaotic, how's that going to make you show up? So just understanding that it's okay to have hope. And even if in 12 months' time, things are still a little bit unsettled, well, I would rather spend the next 12 months leaning into trusting and hoping that we're going to have that more grounded time coming in our circumstances than the opposite and feeling anxious and afraid the whole time. So I hope on a logical level that just makes sense to you and you can start to see that as well. The next thing to realize is that it's all neutral. So anything can happen. We don't know anything for sure. We don't have certainty. So we actually don't have certainty that the worst case scenario is going to happen either. The thing that your mind is telling you is going to happen, that bad thing, we don't know. Even when you read a news article and scientists are predicting this and this and this, we don't know if that's true. And it may very well not be true. If you look back in history, there have been a lot of examples of terrible, horrific things, an end of the world being predicted that never happened. And everyone freaked out about it, like the Cold War, for example, when we were in our nuclear arms race and everyone was afraid that we were going to blow up the world. Living in that sense of fear for a long, long period of time, that was a real fear for a lot of people. And do we have that same fear right now? Are we concerned about people blowing up the world? No, I would say that's not really on our radar. We're more thinking about climate change and we're thinking about the state of the pandemic. So just having this sense of zooming out from this, having a different perspective on it and noticing how there is a sense of neutrality here. We cannot predict for sure what's going to happen in the world, and it's not more likely that things are going to be bad. Your mind will want to tell you that the bad scenario is the more likely scenario, but that's not true. It's actually equally weighted that it could also go really well. We could also have this whole scenario turn more in our favor. We don't know, but the mind is geared to always lean towards the negative. So understanding that, having that awareness is really, really crucial as well. The next thing I'll say is even if it does go wrong, our biggest worry comes true. Most people, they've actually done studies on this, most people find that they end up handling that challenge much more easily, much more gracefully than they ever thought they would. So even if the worst case happens, even if you lose your job, even if whatever thing you're worried about happens, chances are you're going to rise up from that challenge. This is what happens in our human lives. This is what we all came here for, to struggle, to find challenge, to experience pain, so that we could rise above it and we could grow and we could become more of who we are meant to be. If you enjoyed this IGTV, please let me know in the comments below. Please share it with someone you know would find this of benefit, and also tune into my podcast episode where I'm elaborating on this even further.